Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome to the last episode of this series, Vietnam War and Music. So far we have looked at different songs, protest songs, sarcastic performances, and movies, but today we're gonna do something totally different. This is not a song you would sing along with. This would be a piece that sounds like war. Today we are gonna be reviewing and maybe playing a little and talking about George Crumb's piece Tora, Tora, Tora from Microcosmos 2. This is an abstract work for amplified piano that shows us what happens if music is not trying to entertain us, but to confront. So here is a little bit of background about George Crumb. He was an American avant-garde composer. He was born in 1929. A lot of his works are really like progressive, advanced, really out of the box. The piece that we are looking at is from Microcosmos 2. Each of these, the first two books, they have a set of 12 pieces. They have different titles, but the whole thing is also based on the zodiac signs. So each piece is based on a zodiac sign along with the title. Today, the one we are doing is a Scorpio, which is my sign. And that was partly the reason I chose this piece to perform in a few recitals. But I really like this piece because of the background, because of the meaning that it carries, and because how it feels to perform. It's definitely one of my favorite pieces to perform. I know we talked about Fazil Sai in one of the videos. It's kind of like has that feeling for me on stage where I can really feel that I'm connecting to the audience. So back to George Crumb, he was deeply influenced by war, not just Vietnam War, but this piece or this series was composed in 1971 and was completed during the 70s. As the name shows, if you guys know or may not know, Tora, Tora, Tora was the code that was used by the Japanese in the attack to Pearl Harbor in Hawaii in the 40s, like at the end of World War II. So this is not just about Vietnam War, but given the time and the era that he was composing, it was definitely like a direct impact on this piece. So I want to just stop here to talk a little bit about it, because as you see, it's not a lot of piano playing in the traditional way. So I'm gonna put the score here for you guys so you can see it's not written as like a very normal piano score that you might see for a lot of different pieces or composers. One of the most interesting things about his works is that he was also a very like a visual person, so he would care a lot about how to write the piece. Some of his pieces in this series, for example, look like a cross because it has religious themes. Some of them look like a galaxy because it's kind of like reflects the title. Some of them are like a circle that you kind of like there's a semicircle that you have to go back and figure out how you would do that. This piece doesn't have any of those kind of like big visual things. It's written like normal two-line piano, but as you can see, there's a lot of different like symbols, a lot of different explanation about how to kind of decipher. It's like every one of his pieces is like something to decipher, and that's why it makes it so cool to learn and so cool to perform. So it starts like that, and then as you can see, it says like the right hand is playing the white keys and the left hand is playing the black keys all over there. It has a bunch of clusters after that, and it has a lot of glissandos going here and there. But one of my favorite parts about this piece is basically like marring at the strings. In the performance that we just watched, he chose to like stand up and kind of strum or like tap on that part of the piano. I usually don't do that when I perform. I don't stand up as long as I remember, and I just prefer to like play here. And then this piece has the right pedal throughout, so it tells us to basically start the right pedal, which is the damper pedal. It holds everything, all the sounds, and you hold the pedal throughout the piece. So once you have like all those effects melting together, and then once you're here, you can kind of like hear the reflection of it. And this part is also so cool. It's like a lot of different like passages that goes in and out, and then again with a big glissando we come back. So that's kind of like the analysis of what we watched together. So let's go ahead a little bit more. So here we kind of get back to the, I know if it's your first time listening to this piece, it might not make a lot of sense. But if you look at the music, if you can read music, or if you listen to it a bunch, you can realize there are like patterns or kind of like ideas that come and go. So the idea of that we had in the beginning, that it has like started with a bunch of clusters here, it comes back. So to me, it was kind of a recap, or like going back to the first thing. I know the forms in these series or these pieces are kind of like free, so you can't put like a label for their form, but it kind of like goes back to the main idea, and it repeats a bunch, but it also develops it a whole lot with the same ideas, but we kind of get some extended versions of them. That's such a cool piece to play. I always have so much fun, and one of my favorite parts is actually yelling the Tora, Tora, Tora at the end. So we yell 3 times. Each one, it says you gotta be like louder than the one previous one. So you start yelling Tora forte, and then it goes to fortissimo 2 Fs, and then 3 Fs at the end, and then you just end with a big glissando. So I thought it would be cool to like listen to the last time I performed this one in February. So it was very cool, and it was part of like a multimedia concert that I did, and I had like some videos and artwork. It's a whole story. I don't want to like talk about it a lot, but let's just listen to some parts of it. This is definitely like so cool to perform. Oh, okay. So something about the end of it. So the last part that has like a tremolo with the last 4 keys, it says 7 seconds, but I kind of like had to match it with the video, and I kind of matched it, but sometimes when I performed it faster, it would not get to the end of the video because it was like this piece was attached to the next episode, next piece that I was gonna play, and the video was like one file. That's why I remember like going here and then looking at the screen to kind of like see where the atomic bomb, like that was my cue to kind of do the big glissando and then go to the next piece. So that was why I was like, oh my god, like I gotta go on this forever. But it was such a fun. That makes me like want to perform it again. So that's what I wanted to show you about this piece and the performance. So as you guys saw, there was so many like techniques that were not necessarily dubbed as beautiful. If you listen to this piece, you might not find it. It's like some people have told me like this is not music, or like, I mean, I'm not the composer, but like as a performer, when I choose to perform these pieces, it's not everyone's cup of tea, and I understand that, but it's also important to remember the history and the reason that these composers kind of like decided and got inspired to write these pieces. And music is not always there to entertain or to be beautiful. Sometimes it's there to show us something beyond words that is also like angry or like rough, or something that it might not be very pleasant to us. And I think that's the very interesting part of being able to like convey that message with music, and it's not always like very pleasant and very comforting in a traditional way. Thank you so much for watching me during this series. It was very fun, interesting, and thought-provoking for me to find these pieces of music and movies and share it with you. If you have any comments for me, if you have any other songs that are related to Vietnam War, I would be so happy to hear your thoughts and ideas and your feedback. Please consider subscribing to my channel. It means so much to me. See you in the next series, and until then, keep listening deeply. Bye!